Rajeshri Venkatramanan, reading 120 words English shorthand dictation. I think you are all writing my dictations and transcribe into English also. Please like, share and subscribe. Okay, we can start. The Prime Minister announced in his budget speech that a national commission on rural labor would be appointed. He expressed his concern about the situation of agricultural labor and said that the commission would look into the working conditions of this vulnerable section of our society and the implementation of social legislation for their protection. This is a welcome move so far as it goes. What must not be missed, however, is the fact that the situation of agricultural labor has structural dimensions to each, which subject farm to rural labor has structural dimensions to it, which subject farm and rural workers to relentless intensification of their exploitation. In the absence of basic reforms in land, property and social relations, a fresh look into their working conditions and implementation, or more appropriately, non-implementation of existing legislation for their protection, will not help them. It can at best a well-meaning gesture which may actually turn out to be a cynical ploy of the entrenched political power establishment when the essential thrust of its socio-economic policy is tending to be markedly enlisted. It cannot be entirely fortuitous. After all, the wild success of the so-called Green Revolution is being uploaded. Huge food stocks are piling up in the midst of widespread malnutrition. There are reports of even starvation deaths in some areas. This is logical in the wake of the encouragement to commercial agriculture, which is alienating poor peasantry from land and leading to growing unemployment, underemployment and popularization in the rural areas. The number of landless rural workers has swelled to nearly 70% of total number of all workers in the country. The number of agricultural workers alone has increased to nearly 30% of rural population. They are seeking out existence at subsistence or below subsistence level in low-income part-time work. This is because in addition to alienation from the land on which they had earlier either proprietary or at least tenancy rights, there has been widespread destruction of rural industries and handicrafts. This trend is going on to accentuate with the enlargement of the market share of large-scale industry as part of the official policy of so-called technological upgradation and economic sale of production. The new policy is not being limited to only industries which produce capital and intermediate goods. It is being extended to consumer goods as well, as so that large-scale industry will turn directly to drive the small-scale industry and handicaps out of the market. Since labor-saving, capital-intensive production is the essential part of the policy, the generation of new employment is ruled out. Labor-saving measures are being introduced in agriculture too. This has been emphasized by the decision to allow the import of harvest or combines by big commercial farmers. The result is that serious structural imbalances have developed in the economy, and these are likely to accentuate. In contrast to the 7th plan projections, the contribution of the primary sector, the secondary and the tertiary sector will be roughly in equal proportions. In 1989-90, the Central Statistical Organization has found that already in 1985, the services sector, accounting for about 35% of the national income, still support 70% of the total population. Since there has been no shift or labor force from the primary to the secondary and tertiary sections, and no such shift is in the sight, the incomes of the rural workers are eroding sharply. Coming to the implementation of social legislation for the protection of rural labor, which the proposed National Commission on Rural Labor is being asked to look into, the most important among such legislation which have a profound bearing on productive and gainful employment of rural labor are the land reforms laws, the minimum wages law, and laws to protect small-scale rural industry and handicrafts. If the laws to protect small-scale rural industry and handicrafts are being scrapped or made infructuous, the prospect of implementation of land reform is equally disheartening. This fixation of minimum wages under the statute can be useful only if the wage levels so fixed are above the prevailing level established by custom or practice. Sir, before I move on to other points raised by you, I would like to mention that the murder was committed in March 1977, 3 months before the present left-front government took office. Pursuit of available records and local enquiries made after receiving your letter revealed that the deceased Rajkumar had a long record of criminality and was involved in as many as 9 cases of dacoity and attempt to murder. All these cases had been started during the previous Congress regime and President's rule. It is surprising that an element is claimed by you as your party worker. Our records, however, do not show that he was ever an active worker of any political party. A brother of the deceased had also been arrested last year in connection with 5 dacoity cases of which are under investigation. Sri Narendra Ghosh was examined by senior officers and said he did not feel any difficulty in living in the village with his family members. He denied that there was any political pressure on him.